All right, welcome to episode 10 of Goats and Cookies. We did not disappear. We are still here. I am your host this go around, Lucian. And with me is my co host and Aka Core bandmate, your favorite Kevin, and our returning guest from episode 7 and fellow hard charger, Jesse. Gents, welcome back.
Hey, it's glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Always.
We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we are back. Zach is not with us for this episode as he has officially tied the knot yesterday. So big congrats to Zach and his new bride and their families. And he'll be back with us soon, hopefully on the next episode. But all right, boys, let's get to it. A lot has happened since we last casted. So let's start with the obvious, the Oscars. Who you got for Best Picture?
Honestly, I'm down for Sinners, man, because I watched Sinners and then I watched One Battle After Another, and I can tell you that like the Michael B. Jordan film was very well written. It was like it had that great like eclectic vibe to it where it was very period accurate as far as the cars, the dress, the lingo, but it actually had a plot. As far as like the film with Leo and like no every battle another battle after another or one battle after another, excuse me. It didn't seem like it had a fucking plot, like it was just action, boom, like here's some fireworks, here's some bullets, like here's this, here's that. Uh, but what was the point? Like
Right.
I was totally lost on it. As an action film, it was awesome. If you want to see bangs, like that was it. But like as far as like in-depth thought process, like explanation or what do you call it? Um, Display of like intellectual cinema, it it was not.
Right. I felt like, it kind of lacked a point in time, which I don't know if it was on purpose or not. Like, you can kind of guess where the movie begins as far as time period goes, but I think they stayed away for like from like this is the 1970s and now it's, the 19 whatever. I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but Kev, you got any opinions
I
on this
I actually had
Oscars?
to pull up a list of all the nominees,
I've actually
and
seen this is the first time that I've actually seen 6 of the 10 nominees or nominations for Best
I
Picture.
haven't
Oh
seen
hell
any
yeah.
of
That's the
these.
most I've ever seen.
The only one I really want to see is Hamnet. I don't know anything about the rest of them, so I haven't seen any of these. But I've just because of work and everything, I've just been kind of caught up. I'll probably check some of them out. I'm hearing you guys talk about them, and then I want to have an opinion, but I just don't.
Hey,
Fair
but
enough.
hey, we're gonna get into this too. You can just have an opinion without knowing anything. Just
Oh
go for
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I can just
So no, but
fabricate some bullshit.
yeah,
Hey, I
but
mean our,
for
our our government is, why not?
Yeah.
but
Netanyahu
for
has
all
been since 1993.
say that again. Sorry.
I said Netanyahu's been fabricating bullshit since 1993. We're 5 weeks
Oh,
away. We're 6 months away. We're 5 weeks away. We're 3 weeks away. We're 5 months away.
well, yeah. I
Ridiculous.
mean, I don't know if you had read the show notes ahead of time, but yeah, there we go. Like that kind of leads us into what we're actually going to talk about. So aside from the Oscars, here we go again. Guess who's back? Back again. Yahoo's back. Tell a friend. So, guys, we're back at war. This for this season of the show. It's Iran. How are you guys feeling right now? Let's kind of have an open discussion about how are you feeling. Like, what's going through your minds as veterans of the global war on terrorism and all that fun that we had 20 some years ago?
I'm going to jump around a little bit here. I kind of when I saw it coming. Um, whether it's because they're trying to delay the midterm elections or the next presidential elections, whether it's because they're just wanting to look like they have big dicks, whether it's because they want to have money. But it all comes down to being Israel's lapdogs. This has been our government's kind of trend for. I mean, my entire adult life, I've been aware of it, especially since after Iraq. All of the intel that we got that led us into that bullshit was from Israel. Every time they feel like they have an enemy, they talk about weapons of mass destruction and all this other crap. Working in a hospital, I see fentanyl every day, and I'm always laughing. There's a weapon of mass destruction, but it's it's always going to be one. It's always going to be another. It's always going to be whoever the hell we're going to make money off of. Poor Iran. I feel bad for the Iranian people. I feel bad for anyone who's in the military, and I feel even more bad for anyone who's actually buying all of this bullshit. This is fucking ridiculous. It's sad. None of it was justified. We have been on like we are the provocation at this point. At Israel's whim. Not only do we fund their fucking country, they brag about having universal health care and free university for their citizens. We pay for that. We don't obviously, and their argument will always be, you don't give us money. And it's like, yeah, all of the R&D and all of the weapons and all of the intelligence and all of the technology that we pass on to, yeah, we fucking pay for every bit of it. So we pay for their existence and we also fight their wars for us. So our young citizens, our young poor citizens, our young lower class citizens are dying for Israel yet again. I think there's been seven casualties so far. We've lost F-15s, or was it F-16s? I'm sorry. We've lost jets that we've never lost before. Never have we lost these jets before, and now they're going down like fucking flies. And now there's a apparently a credible threat against California because they're saying that they're going to hit us with drones, which is really convenient because Trump is actually suing California over our vehicle emissions laws. He hates Gavin Newsom. He thinks that California is the most evil place, and a bunch of U.S. Attack drones have just gone missing. So it's just like, I mean, this is just another fucking stupid bullshit war that makes absolutely no sense that only fucking morons are going to support. And I'm really not holding back on this. Like I'm sensitive about the attacking our regime because I'm kind of in a weird situation in life right now, regarding them. Um, and it's hard, but I'm gonna let loose on fucking Israel, man. Israel is a bunch of inbred European scum. If they can't maintain their fucking country and fight their own wars, they don't deserve to exist. They've been leaning on the back of the American taxpayer for far too fucking long. And that's what this war is. It's just another another rise for the Israelis. Oh, I hate it, man. I fucking hate it, especially as a veteran of OIF OEF generation. I went to Haiti for this crap. I went to Africa for this crap. I went to Iraq for this crap. And it's all just putting money into the pockets of the rich. Whether it's APAC money or whether it's our money through tariffs and like oil prices and fucking all of this cryptocurrency and like I mean this is just another fucking grift by our government. So that's my 2 cents.
You're definitely at a place. I think that a lot of vets are. Jesse, where you at, man? What are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I I'm right there on the dovetail of Kevin's comments. Is this is just global war on terrorism 2.0, and that began with all the fucking rhetoric from Benjamin Netanyahu since the well, his really starting to spout out in the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in 1979, which led to the Marine barracks bombing in 1983, where we lost, 250 service members, Marines, docks, Navy, and Army combined, all while Israelis had the intelligence that it was going to happen, and they did nothing to stop it. There's this book that I read called Gideon Spies that outlines just how much the Israelis knew, and they did not let us know. So, like, all those American lives are not on Iran's hands or Hezbollah's hands; they're on Israel's hands. Fast forward to 1996, we had the Clean Break Report, which, you know, ended up being the construct for the global war on terrorism, where we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. In most of those countries, actually, 6 out of the 7 have been taken down, like to this day. Iraq was one of them, Syria, Libya, um, Sudan, Somalia. And I don't think Afghanistan was part of the plan, but I think they were a good pawn, to be able to get us closer to Iran and have a foothold in the area with all of our military bases to put pressure on Iran. And now here we are today, 21st century. We're fighting a war with someone who's been preparing for it for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And well, first off, I think they're lying about the numbers. It's probably far more than 7 service members dead,
Yeah.
but like they can't hide it forever. Like those numbers are going to come out because eventually they're going to have to be put in boxes and put into the ground in Arlington Cemetery or some other national cemetery here in America.
And the president can wear his merch hat at their fucking homecoming.
How fucking distasteful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's an absolute disrespect. I actually saw um, a photo today of Donald J. Trump in his military academy uniform with his mother and father, and it's just unfortunate that you know he. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to serve because the Vietnam War popped up and Bone Spurs came out of nowhere. 5-time fucking draft dodger.
Can I also point something out too? You've got Pete Hegseth, you've got JD Vance, and you've got all these other veterans that are around. With all due respect, I mean, for anyone out there that doesn't know, I mean, Jesse and I both went to the schoolhouse with JD. We both know him. Um, you know, with respect to that and my friendship with him from the past, nobody had the fucking balls to fucking just tell him like, "Sir, that's fucking disrespectful. Take the goddamn hat off," or something. You know what I mean? Like,
They're
but
scared of him.
that
He's got
show,
them all
yeah,
in his pocket, man. He has dirt on every one of them.
nobody speaks up to him.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
all yes men, and
Just like
even if
Israel has
even
dirt
if
on him, he has dirt on them. It's the
even
same
if it's
fucking thing.
even if it's not dirt, it's still money, and money is power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like JD Vance would be nothing without Peter Thiel. And how did he
Yeah.
get an acquaintance with Peter Thiel? You know what I mean? Like,
and
Yeah.
yet, and this is what happens when you start owing people, man. When
Yeah.
people get you, when you don't use your own shit to get ahead, and you rely on these blood sucking,
yeah, I
sea
mean, and I
sucking millionaires and billionaires.
and
Guess what?
like
They're going to come back and get theirs. They're investing in you. They're going to get that ROI, man. They're getting that return on investment.
100%. And it just kind of I remember like JD, as Jimmy, and like he was a super sweet human being, but he was still weird. But like, who is it? Like that is perspective. Um, but I never saw it going to like where he's at now, and where there's just like blatant lies just being perpetuated. And I think that his Marine Corps career, you know, it took a toll on me being public affairs in the Marine Corps because like I have an inherent like I don't know, fucking sense of like self-conscious, like consciousness and like self-worth, morality, ethics, where like I found it very hard to write the propaganda that the US military wanted me to perpetuate whatever lie they wanted to put to the American public about how the war was going. And he obviously is either one in fear and has no problem telling lies because of that fear, or like he's just completely compromised and like he has no ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, like you think about what happens when you do get compromised and you owe somebody something. What goes out the window first, you
I
know?
gotta point out, he leans on this fucking the hillbilly elegy, all that crap. He talks about
I'm one of you thing, dude. You haven't like, no,
no, motherfucker, you're
you ain't
definitely
been
not.
one of us in a
As
long
an
time.
actual hillbilly from Piedmont, South fucking Carolina, whose family made moonshine professionally for a long goddamn time,
And
I have to
I mean,
say that
go
guy
ahead.
that guy has nothing to do with us. So, the working class of America has more in common with the working class of Iran than we do with the upper class of America. It's ridiculous. I mean, for him to consider even for a second that he's one of us, kiss my fucking ass, dude.
My
Well,
question is like with the SAVE Act coming in and it's going to disenfranchise 24, 27 million Americans because of their lack of ability to get a matching ID with their matching birth certificate. With a man that has changed his name like twice now, not even talking about how many religions this guy is like, claimed to be a part of. Does JD Vance not get to vote now?
No, he'll fix his shit.
well, it was interesting. I had seen some commentary that where someone was talking about, and I never really thought about this too, where when they try to simplify it to the point of like, well, it's just an ID, man. You should just be able to show it and then and vote. What's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. It's
Read the bill.
unconstitutional because here's the thing. That little fucking plastic piece of shit that you got in your wallet, whether it's your ID or your driver's license or whatever it might be, cost you money. You had to pay to get that. Poll taxes are specifically unconstitutional. It says it directly in the Constitution.
Yep,
So for me to vote, I have to have money to buy this little thing, and I have to spend money to do it.
the real
Like
ID and
why can't it just be
passport. Yeah.
why can't it just be my voter registration? If the government sends that to me for free, I could bring that and there you go.
Well, as a
Oh,
citizen
but
of
they got
California,
a picture.
in
But okay.
California, I still do mail-in voting, and they can trash it all they want, but 90% of our military votes by mail-in voting. The absentee ballots, we don't just hand those in with a fucking ID. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All this stuff is mailed in, every bit of it. In California, I still do a mail-in ballot, because it's more convenient. Why would I go wait in some big ass line? But I don't have to show an ID. In fact, I can legally have anyone that I want sign or fill out my entire ballot for me, and then I can just sign it and send it in. That's 100% legal. Like all of these talking points that they have on Fox News are completely inaccurate and unconstitutional. I don't understand what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, they don't have to be accurate because they're literally considered as an entertainment network.
Yeah, yeah.
So like they don't have to be truthful just because of that. Like in the 70 was it the $784 billion or $1 million lawsuit, like just proves that point of their accusations of the stolen election in 2020.
Yeah.
Like it was all fucking fabricated. So like, you were proven wrong in court. And that was their justification. It's like, well, we don't have to be truthful because we're entertainment. They said it themselves. So, like, don't push that fucking narrative on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
when,
was it?
you
Alex
know,
Jones. He had to do the same thing, right? When the Sandy Hook
oh yeah,
families
and he
sued
and
him
he
as
had to
well.
he had to pay out. I'm surprised he's still like above ground because like he buried himself in all of that. Like you can be a conspiracy theorist all you want to, but like, ah, when it comes to children, you better be careful. But also, like, defamation and like libel are a real thing in our like legal system. So, you say what you say, but you better have some stuff to back it up.
Now, I don't want to derail us too much here, but you brought up children, and I have to bring up two words, Epstein files. Searches for Epstein files have gone down 94% since the war started in Iran. 94%. People have stopped looking into it by 94%. So I think mission accomplished. I mean, I can see Donald Trump in George Bush's place on the carrier with the mission accomplished banner over his fucking head. Like the pedo got away with it, man. And he's doing it by sacrificing people like you and me and putting us in harm's way and letting us fucking die for Israel's money and just so he can get away with pedophilia and all this baby eating shit. Like, what the fuck is all that about? Like, this is insane. There's so many layers to this cake. It, this is just outstandingly insane. At least George W. Bush put forth effort into lying to the American people. This guy isn't even trying. The only people who believe him, like I said earlier, the only people who are buying this shit at this point are absolute morons.
Well,
I've cut off 90% of my family, 95% of my family. I haven't talked to them in years, and I hope they see this eventually. I don't talk to them because they subscribe to this absolutely insane bullshit put forth toward Israel and pedophiles. And I don't know that they're not synonymous at this point. You know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to believe any of this crap over someone who's actually been there and done that? I've had arguments with my brother over this years ago, him saying that all Muslims are just murderers living in dirt huts. And it's like, bro, I've lived in 7 Muslim nations during my life. What the fuck are you even talking about? How many Muslims have you even met in your life? You have no clue what you're talking about outside of what Fox News is telling you. And that they're just gonna eat that shit up. If I contradict anything Fox News says through my own life experience, they're they they just think I'm some crazy fucking whack job. Or they contributed to PTSD. Or, like my family did, they consider me a heroin addict. Like my family jumped through fucking loopholes to convince everyone that I was a heroin addict. I've never touched heroin. I don't know what the fuck they're talking. I smoked some weed. Like I drink a little alcohol here and there, but I've never done like any of these hard drugs they're talking about. But they had to justify my experience and my knowledge of my experience in some way to make me sound insane so that they could keep believing Fox News guilt-free. And that's where the American people are.
well, with that, guys, we brought up the whole idea that if you're against the war or you're against Israel, you're an anti-Semite. There's a lot of discussion about being anti-war, anti-fighting alongside Israel for Israel versus being an anti-Semite or being hateful against Jewish people. Like once and for all, can we discuss this and maybe
Yeah.
help people understand the damn difference and just have a discussion about what the fuck the difference between being against our involvement with Israel versus Judaism and religion in general. I'd like to actually start this with just one simple statement. Like I'm supposed to be sort of the the neutral host here. However, I'm going to interject really quick and just say that my anti-war parts and my anti our involvement with Israel has fuck all to do with goddamn religion.
Yeah.
Take your religion and shove it up your ass really fucking quick.
Yeah. Fuck any
My fucking
theocracy at that.
my goddamn anti yeah, I'm gonna be blasphemous on this shit. My goddamn anti-war shit has everything to fucking do with the American people getting fucking shafted, our troops being put in fucking harm's way for no goddamn reason except for to make some rich people more fucking rich and for some war criminals to continue to do their fucking war criminal fucking shit. So, guys, with that, what do you got?
I think Jesse was ready for this one. Go for it, man.
Yeah, so I talked to you guys last time about a little bit of my healing process coming out of the war, and just like how damaged I was by also like just not understanding what the fuck we were there for. You know what I mean? And like what we were doing. And especially after a long period there, like I just kept seeing more of my friends die. But why? We just like this current like administration's interjection into Iran, we don't have a good fucking reason because the weapons of mass destruction was a lie. So is the opium trade. Like I remember reading a book called Seeds of Terror, and it was about how the Taliban um, used the heroin trade to like bolster their terroristic activities, which was completely null and void. The Taliban had nearly obliterated the opium and poppy like cultivation in their country by like 90% when we invaded. Okay. A year later, it was up by 110%. And then you look at the Sackler family, it coincidentally like coincided with the opioid epidemic and the overprescription of opioids in America. Like, what a fucking big surprise, you know? Um, well, shit, I forgot.
Afghanistan was trying to grow cotton at the time. That's why, that's why America pushed back and said, no, you're growing opium again. Because America's one of America's greatest cash crops is cotton. We're not going to have competition. We're not going to breed competition. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense what you're saying.
But there's also better fibrous like crops to grow that are already in India, and like they've been intubating those things for like 3 or 4 decades now. So
Hmm.
like, why trying to push an American crop or like a Western Hemisphere crop on them? It's just asinine. But it also seems like a cover. You know what I mean? So my best friend is a Jew from Astoria, Queens. And I met her when I was in the Marine Corps, and she was a student at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. And she gave me a book called Not the Israel My Parents Promised Me. And it's a graphic novel. And it actually like really gave me perspective from a Jewish perspective on this fantasy that is Zionism, you know, and that is the main like driving factor of why we are continuing this asinine war on terrorism. And it's not for like defeating terrorism, because like I've lived in Muslim countries, I've been to a mosque, and I see that diversity. You don't see that diversity in a synagogue, you don't see that diversity in a Baptist church.
Nope.
Like if you want to see black people in a Baptist church, you have to go to a black Baptist church in the South. It's like just literally the reality that we live in. So everyone here is living in a bubble when these people that they're saying are terrorists and they're backwards living in their reality, which is honestly Judaism 3.0, like kind of have a more cohesive community than we do. And there's a reason they say death to America, because you're bombing their fucking children, you know? 140 plus children were bombed off of bad intelligence on the first day of the war. And not only that, they bombed them 45 minutes later when everyone showed up to help clear out the rubble. You know what I mean? So like it just gives you a little perspective that uh, this shit is not the reality in which like you're seeing on CNN and Fox or MSNBC. Like they want to paint it as like anything opposed to the war effort in Israel or Iran is anti-Semitism, but anti-Semitism does not equate to anti-Zionism. The two are two totally different things. Zionism is a political ideology that um, puts Jewish people superior to everyone else, which is first off based like it is completely contrary to my ethos as a human being, because I am a human being and I'm a humanitarian. You know what I mean? So I feel that everyone should get equal dignity and respect, especially indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
So,
That would be the Palestinians,
you
the
Well,
know,
descendants of the Canaanites.
not to throw gasoline on the fire, but you know, saying that one race or being of people is superior to another, that sounds awful a lot like somebody that was from the you know, got famous in the 1930s and 40s that you know.
Well,
Okay, cut that. No, cut that.
no, 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 no.
I don't want to
I
be
will
fucking.
add to that. I will add to
But
that
I don't want to
and
be. I don't
say
want to be
that
associated with fucking.
eugenics was a widespread fan base fucking. I mean, it was a movement in America previous, like prior to World War II. Like everyone was about eugenics. There were huge eugenicist meetings, right and left. Everyone was about it. America itself has sterilized certain countries, like generations of people in other countries because they were applying eugenics to the world. I mean, eugenics, when it comes to like, black and white on paper, it sounds pretty amazing. You're going to get rid of all like disabilities, like genetic disabilities, or you're going to get rid of like I don't know, any mental disabilities, physical disabilities, anything like that. Only have like pure, like pure healthy humans. But it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, like who's going to be picking what beauty is? Who's going to be picking what genes are pure? It sure as fuck isn't Sydney Sweeney. You know what I mean? Like that's not pure genes. Her eyes are like way over here. I mean, okay, I digress. But back to the question. If you're done, Jesse,
No, I mean, I'm just gonna put in one more thing, like
yeah, go for it.
where Lou is kind of backing off. Like we have to look at the Havara agreement, all right,
Hmm.
between the Third Reich and the Jewish Zionists that like literally made an agreement to transfer like high profile Jewish assets from Germany and Austria to banks in the Levantine and like Palestine, British mandate. Okay, they literally made a fucking coin. Okay, with the Star of David on one side and the swastika on the other side. Okay, so don't give me that shit about like extermination and like it's ridiculous to fucking perpetuate that. After that, did the Germans like perpetuate an unspeakable Holocaust? Absolutely. But that was based off of their ideology of like you had a time frame and they didn't meet it because not everyone was a Zionist. They didn't think that they should move to the Holy Land to like live out their lives. They thought themselves as Germans. They thought themselves as Polish, and like so on and so forth. Name all the countries that housed the extermination fucking houses with Dachauer and um, uh, Auschwitz, and all the other concentration camps. Those things didn't come until after that agreement was perpetuated and put into action. You know,
Yeah.
so like I don't buy the narrative of like the anti-Semitism there until like it was well the extreme fascist right wing ideology that literally crippled the rest of the country's say so, like their ability to object to it, which I kind of feel like that's where we're coming to in our country, you know.
Absolutely, man.
I just saw that there's a certain FCC head that reached out to all the networks and said that certain funding or something could be cut from them depending on how they portray this current war that we are talking about and discussing. Um, what do you guys think about that? State. We think it's state-sponsored media.
I'm going to take the lead on this one. So I actually pulled up something to the last point. It wasn't exactly directly related, but PBS. PBS cost every American the price of a cup of coffee per year, $1.60. Like I think everyone's getting lattes these
Did you?
days. So it's like
And you
seven
said per year, right?
per
So
year.
one cup
So
of
one
coffee
lot, like not even a
for the year.
latte per year, not
Yeah.
even a latte per year. We have spent upwards of $15 billion so far on this war. And that's 8 fucking days.
Was it
Eight
two?
fucking
Yeah, I
days.
was gonna say like less than 2 weeks, right?
1 month of this war would fund universal health care, free public university, would revamp every social program that Ronald Reagan canceled. I mean, it would do all of this together. Like, I mean, and give us our Doge checks and our tariff checks. All of it would fund every bit of that. Like, we could actually do this with what we spent on this war in fucking 8 days, let alone a month. Like I don't understand what the fuck they're doing. The FCC can kiss my fucking ass. Why would they even let them get rid of PBS? Why would anyone want to get rid of PBS? To say that we need state-sponsored news is anti-American. It goes against everything America stands for. It goes against the Constitution. It goes against free press. It goes against every journalistic integrity that has ever been imagined. It's disgusting. Like, what the fuck are you even thinking about?
Well, I
Um,
mean, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead,
No,
Kevin.
no, please go
No,
ahead.
I mean, I just saw an article today that like they are trying to revamp the Stars and Stripes, which, like is a very pro-military like newspaper that like, is publicly funded, but it is being viewed as woke because they're critical of the military. Well, you need to be critical of the military because like where are the guardrails? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as far as our laws go and international laws go, um, which we have continuously violated, like there has to be some kind of sanity check that allows the American people to know that like, hey, this is what's happening and there probably should be some accountability, but it's up to you the people, and that's where we stand as an American people. Like it's our responsibility to hold these folks accountable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're no better than Russia and we're no better than North Korea.
I want to backtrack just a tiny bit to the anti-Semitism. My family, as I said before, they're all a bunch of fucking scumbags. I don't really, I'm not shy about it. I grew up hearing racist remarks every single day of my life. The anti-Semitism remark, like the people who support Israel, like the Americans right now who are supporting Israel, are the most anti-Semitic people in existence. All of them hate Jews. They don't hate Israel. They don't hate Zionism. They hate Jews. They hate black people. They hate brown people. They hate yellow people. They hate any fucking body that isn't goddamn pink. You know what I'm saying? It baffles me that these people will support the people that they hate over a bunch of libtards. You know what I'm saying? They will go against everything that they believe just to own some libs who are just as far right as they are. They're just the other side of the coin. I mean, like they're both fighting for the same corporations. They're both fighting for the same people. They want the same people to succeed for the same reasons. That's why you see such bipartisan efforts into ruining our country right now. It blows me away to know that the actual anti-Semites are the people who support them. While those of us who are anti-Israel, like myself, I am anti-Israel. I am anti-Zionism. I am anti-colonialism. Um, I have nothing against Jewish people. I have everything against any organized religion. Like they're all just a bunch of bastardized versions of what they were originally meant to be, which was uplifting and making us care for our fellow man. They've all every single. I grew up Southern Baptist. Every single religion is meant to control the masses and placate us into just submitting to our fucking leaders. Like that's just what organized religion is. So in that sense, yeah, I don't like Judaism. Just same as I don't like Protestantism and I don't like Islam and I don't like you name it, Astro-Zionism. I mean like I don't like any of them. They all make the masses submit to their fucking will. I think that Jesus's Sermon on the Mount was powerful in that he said that we don't need a temple. We don't need, to go to a specific place to worship. We can do that in our minds. Our mind is a temple. Our body is a temple. So if anyone wants to do their religion, cool. I have nothing against it, and I'm not going to stop it. And to the extent I'm not going out of my way to go against any organized religion. I just don't necessarily like them. That said, I have nothing against Judaism. I have everything against Zionism. I have everything against colonizing. I have everything against Israel making our countries poor, die for them and their political fucking, I don't know, goals or whatever you want to call it. The only people that support them are the anti-Semites in our country. It just baffles me to every extent. I don't understand how all of this happened, but the people who I've heard actually insult Jewish people in a racist or any kind of prejudiced way are the people who actually support all of this bullshit. Like they're the ones who are anti-Semites. And again, like I said earlier, like they're not even anti-Semites. Um uh, they're just against whatever religion because, most Israelis are not Semites. If you look at them, they look just like you and me. They're a bunch of European descendants who fled the country when the caliphates took over and were forcing all of the conversions. They were the rich people who could leave. The poor people couldn't leave. They couldn't afford to go anywhere. So they had to convert to Islam, and that's who the Palestinians are. They are the natives who stayed, whereas everyone else went and bred into our people, the Europeans, like the people of European descent. So for them to talk about what was promised to them 3,000 years ago, I would say that's the Palestinians who were promised, like maybe they converted, but like if anyone who knows their history can plainly see that these people who this is going to be a little harsh, but who are just a bunch of inbred fucking ignorant sons of bitches. They're not the ones who were promised anything. They're just a bunch of entitled fucks. Like that's all it is. Anyone that I've met from Israel, I've tried to debate them on what's going on, and I always bring up how we fund everything that they have. We fund their educations, we fund this, we fund that, and they always argue with me like, "Well, you're not just giving us cash," and you're absolutely right, but we're paying for your military, we're paying for your defense, we're paying for the R&D that goes into it, which is countless dollars. Like the money, the monetary resources we give them they're dwarfed by the R&D that goes into creating those. But they always, at the end of the debate, they always finish it off because I wouldn't say they win, they absolutely lose, but they always finish it off by, well, I'm just a Jew who poisons the well, like, and they turn it into an anti-Semitic thing because they have nothing else to say because they'll try the whole like American safety is priceless and we feed you such great intelligence and all that. They try every little avenue that they have until they run out of them. And then they come at me with some anti-Semitic shit. And it's like, well, you're the one saying that, not me. And all of this is the people that support them. The people that support them are the ones who say all that crap. They can put their words in my mouth all they want to, but the Zionists, so to speak, in America are the anti-Semites. Every one of them has said some sort of racial slur toward these people at one point in time, and it just kind of baffles me. So that's my long-winded answer to your earlier question as far as anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism and anti-Israel. I'm tired of fighting their fucking wars for them, and I'm tired of them using the cop out of anti-Semitism against us when it's the anti-Semites who support them. That's who supports them. They're playing into their hands, and it's because they're fucking morons. And the anti-Semites, not the Israelis. Obviously, they have a brain on their head because they know how to play these idiots.
Yeah, Lou, would you mind if I just piggybacked off Kevin real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, yeah.
All right, so I mean,
That was a lot,
the yeah,
huh?
no, the Zionism like line itself is pretty wild if you kind of like deep dive into it. And like there are two, like American Zionism and Jewish Zionism. Um and I use that term loosely. Jewish Zionism is like very loosely, because most Jewish people around the world do not agree with the sentiment of the um, taking over of you know the Levantine and
Yeah.
Arab lands to create a greater Israel. It's just not a fucking thing. Okay, it was a political like ideology that was formed in the late 1800s, like at the turn of the 20th century. But they are at odds, but they support one another with with different end goals. Whereas like Zionism looks for, or like Jewish Zionism looks for the Messiah coming and having the greater Israel in the land promised, as their like guaranteed right. But American Zionism is like, well, we have to perpetuate and support this entity to bring about the coming of our Messiah, which is like the second coming of Jesus. And they both had the same end goal, is like everyone else will bow to us. It's the same mentality of like we have a superiority over you because you are non-Jewish or you are non-Christian, and like you will like bow at the throne, or the mantle of the third temple or whatever the fuck. It's absolutely absurd. It's just crazy, like zealotry is what it comes down to. And unfortunately, that is what is by money has captured both governments. And we're in the throes of it, and we're paying for every fucking single bit of it.
Yeah.
But to the point, like where you were talking about the caliphates pushing out the Jews, to a certain extent, yes. Um, because like the past was very much more violent. But if you like really dig into it and you look, the current president of the Palestinian Authority, okay, Mahmoud Abbas, all right, his father, like his like great grandfather, was a Jewish rabbi. This man is Muslim, okay, but his great grandfather is Jewish. Well, it's because of the caliphates, and it had to do with money.
Yeah.
It was like you can serve whatever God you want to serve, but if you are not a Muslim, then you have to pay a tax. So there was a large conversion in 1834, in one of the last actually uprisings in the Levantine prior to 1948, where there was a large scale war to like convert people because of money. It had to do with money and people's ability to be able to afford it. So it's just one of those things in society is like, well, just get with what's good, but it's still the same God,
Yeah.
you know. The Muslims still believe in the same God as the Jews. They just
That's
have a couple different prophets, you know. But
Yeah, maybe I didn't elaborate enough. I was talking more on the people who could afford to leave and the people who could afford the tax. The people who couldn't were the ones who had to convert. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe I should have, elaborated a little bit more. I hate to fall into prejudice.
no, 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 no. It's totally cool, man. Like, but I mean, we're at the point now where we're dismantling THAAD systems in the Arab states and South Korea and Japan, and shipping them over to Israel, and literally abandoning our allies in the Arab states. And like, trust me, I don't watch Fox News and CNN and MSNBC because I know that they're like factually they're not correct for the most part, and I trust Al Jazeera 100% more, unless it's against the Qatari crown. They're not they're not so like accurate, but like you're going to get more like foresight from their reporting being honest than you are anything that we're going to see in America. And when I'm watching Eastern media, I'm seeing that like the Arab states feel abandoned, and they are fucking pissed
Yeah.
that America is abandoning them because they have invested billions and billions of dollars into American infrastructure in the Middle East just to be left hanging out to dry. You know what I mean? So like, where's that going to leave us?
No, we're good.
Well, with that, guys, I want to shift a little bit, but we are talking about a lot of people, uh, and there's a lot of um, chest pounding online, um, which it's it's kind of like looking back, at the start of OIF and OEF, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom. We are in a different technological era. So now we get to hear from the I would have joined, but warmongers out there kind of more openly and more online, who are likely now aged out uh, of going to war or being drafted. I guess they missed their opportunity again. Well, shucks. But I want to talk about like this sort of chicken hawk more warmongering state, not just of online people, because we know online stuff is can be toxic, and people are just saying shit as they want without impunity. But you know, what are your guys' opinion on those types of
I have the same answer
commentators?
for all of them. I
But I,
always
but
tell them the same thing.
but I
Go
and I,
ahead.
I also want to let me kind of rephrase this too. Like it's not just the low level, lives at home with his mom in the
No, yeah,
basement
yeah.
troll that we all think about. But it's also high level, Lindsey
Hmm.
Graham's maybe some of those cats.
Senator
What
Ladybugs.
I'm
Uh,
I'm digging up something real quick, and I'll be right back with you because I've got something to say about it.
yeah, so
Okay.
mine's good. Mine's short and sweet, man. So I'll let you have this one, but I say the same thing to every fucking one of them. A lot of my family are like that. A lot of my friends from my childhood are like that, and they're all, yeah, war. Like we're gonna go teach them what violence is. That is a quote that I've heard.
Who's we, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I always tell them the same fucking thing. Every single one of them. Take your kids to the recruiting station. Don't let a bunch of poor kids trying to get ahead in life go die for your fucking beliefs. Take your kids and enlist your kids to go fight in these wars. Don't let some fucking faceless, no-name person go die for this shit. Yeah, how many times do you think these assholes have actually read the names and the lives of these service members who have died so far? They haven't. They don't give a flying fuck. They're just faceless people to them. They do not care. Put their kids into this war. Put Barron fucking Trump into this war. That's who should be fighting this shit. The people who actually support it should be fighting it, but they never fucking will. Once the draft comes, they're all going to have bone spurs. Their kids are going to have bone spurs, and their grandkids are going to have bone spurs. That's who they are. They're a bunch of cowards trying to make some fucking money. Put their kids into this shit, and then their tune will change dramatically. Now, as far as Senator Ladybugs, I just wanted to throw that out there because it's funny. But go for it, Jesse.
All right, so this is an acquaintance I have in Chattanooga, and like I made a post on Facebook that said a reminder that it took $2.5 trillion in 20 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. And granted, this guy is a Navy veteran, but he was a peacetime veteran. He was Cold War veteran, so he had seen not a day of combat. He has never had a bullet shot at his fucking head. All right, so I'm just going to read you. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to read you his quote, and then I'm going to read my rebuttal if that's okay. Is it finally a president that's doing what almost all of recent past presidents said that they would do and didn't, whether people agree with it or not? It had to happen. Nobody wants war, but they've claimed this war on us several times and they've never done anything about it. And I said, more of your uninformed cracker commentary. Please shut the fuck up. But an actual war veteran, uh, Navy commander that I served with, like said that so and so seems to suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, which like I totally agree. And my comment to my former teammate was, he is obviously a man who has, one, never been to the Middle East. Two, has never seen the horrors of war. And three, he doesn't know anything about the history of either.
Absolutely.
And that's
And
really all
cracker
I've got.
commentary. Okay, hashtag tracker commentary. Let's get that thing
It'll be in
going. Put it in the
there.
comments. Look, I understand that there might be people that stumble across this or watch this or any of our normal viewers who may disagree with it. Hey, put your shit in the comments, man. Like we will respond to it. We'll have you on if we vet you properly and you're not just some loony.
Yeah, I'll call
But
you a moron, but
if you're feeling attacked here, maybe it's for good reason.
if you're
That's
feeling attacked here, you need to question your fucking reality, honestly.
right.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
But I would say this too, on Kev's point, and then on yours too, Jesse. Like with the send your kids to war, and then I'll add this, and then you can start saying we.
Yeah,
Don't ever say we until you are invested in it personally, whether that be a family member or whoever, and I'm not wishing that on anybody. I hope everybody, gets home safe. And but at the same time, I want the Iranian people to be safe, and I want peace in this world. And the only way we're ever going to get there is if we stop letting these motherfuckers just do what the fuck they want
Warmonger.
to gain a profit.
like I said
Uh,
earlier, the working class of America has more in common with the working class of Iran than we do with the upper class of America. American upper class and lower class is so we live in different fucking planets, man. We absolutely do. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy how separated we are now. There were, tw 20, 30 years ago, I think there were like 200 billionaires on the entire planet, and now how many are there? I mean, and it's because of all this crap that's going on. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I'm thinking this too. Like, one thing they don't want is what's going on right now on this podcast, right? They don't want a bunch of us, poor and lower middle class kids that would have never probably met anybody from the Middle East, would have never probably met any Muslim before. But then you sent us, we signed up to fight your war for us, and
Yep.
then we were for you, and then we went over there, and we got to see, you know, that these are real people. These are people
Yeah.
just like us, and now we get to speak out about it and say, like, hey, to all these little warmongers and all these little motherfuckers that had their injury, my shoulder injury from high school that kept me out of joining the Marines, when
Bone
9/11
spurs.
happened and call all the bone spurts, all those motherfuckers that are pounding their chests and this is my fucking yeah, blah, 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 all that
Ladybugs.
shit. Yeah. And we put a southern accent on it, but man, that's
Yeah.
cross country, bro.
Oh
That's
yeah,
all around.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's all around.
absolutely.
You got these motherfucking townies, and they're just fucking forever going to be in that town, never going to go anywhere, never going to fucking do anything, never going to see anybody, never going to meet anybody. And they're just fucking, you know, like I said, pounding their chests and saying, we. It ain't we. It ain't we. It's these people that are brave enough to step up and fucking go over. And it's always going to be the poor and the lower middle
Yeah.
class. And,
Yep.
uh, if you actually care about the troops and you fucking want to support the goddamn troops, you should be anti this war and
Yeah.
every war that we've been in for a long time.
You
Uh,
should be
so
anti-war, like period. Like, and I get asked the question a lot because I'm in college right now, trying to like after I got my life back together after fucking being devastated by this war. Like I'm obviously a little older, and I'm around a lot of younger people, and they ask me about the military, and like, well, I thought about joining, and the only thing I can tell them is like, you have to know two things. You have to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to be a whore for corporate America, because that's what we do with 800 plus military bases across the world, is use the military arm of our government as extortion to get people to do what we want them to do for our capital interest. Or you join the Coast Guard, where you're pretty much contained to the continental United States, where you are truly protecting the borders of America. So like you got one or two choices, and even like the latter, given the recent strikes in the Caribbean and the Pacific, is very questionable. As far as international law goes, or in our own fucking laws, be
Yeah.
at that. So
Yeah, to what you said a second ago, real quick, sorry. Um, I think anti-war should be the default. Like, I don't understand how it isn't. Like, what the fuck are people thinking of? We should have solidarity with civilians, not governments. We should have solidarity with peace, not war. I'm just completely baffled by this.
All right, guys. So we've been talking about this current war and all of that. But prior to the Iran war starting, this iteration, uh, there was some talk about veteran disability and issues with potential fraud. Now, we're all veterans here with service-connected disabilities. I want us to kind of talk about the process of filling out claims for our audience out there that may not know, how stringent it can be to receive a disability rating. So, whoever wants to start, let's kind of dispel this fucking idea that it's so fucking easy to get a disability rating from the VA and that we're all fraudsters just limping around.
I guess I'll go first. So not going into what my injuries are too deep, but I have a traumatic brain injury. Don't don't invalidate my opinion because I have a TBI either. Fucks. I had a traumatic brain injury from an IED blast way back when, and also PTSD, chronic depression, chronic migraines, chronic all kinds of crazy crap. Anyway. Um, the IED blast is what led me to the Wounded Warrior Battalion, where I was at for a year and a half. They've revamped a lot of the programs, and this is 2011, so I mean, this is way the fuck back when. I got there in 2010, October of 2010, and I retired December of 2011. So the way it worked. I don't know. I can't speak for now, but I was in a revamped version of it from all of the scandals with Walter Reed back in the day. They had kind of gone through the loops and made it a little bit better. Um, I got to Wounded Warriors, and basically, if you're wounded in action, or if you're wounded while active duty, because there were a lot of guys there that weren't in combat, they had come down with cancer or they'd fallen off the back of a truck during training. There was a lot of stuff like that. But the majority of us, especially in 2011, that was when the Battle of Sangin happened. There was a lot going on. So a lot of us had gotten fucked up in action, and we ended up at Wounded Warriors. So they had kind of streamlined the situation for us. I know it's a lot different for people who get out and then have to apply for their benefits, but for us, it was somewhat streamlined. So there's a rule. There was a rule. I don't know about now. Um, they can't release us from active duty until we have been thoroughly treated for our wounds or whatever. So a lot of these guys are stuck there, like especially the cancer patients. These guys they'll come down with some sort of radiation related cancer or whatever, and they're stuck there until it has been treated. Which I don't know what the definition of treated would be in that situation, whether it's a round of chemo or a round of radiation or which caused the cancer in the first place. Um, I can only speak for myself. So for me, it was to go through a TBI clinic, go through neurology, go through PTSD round of individual and group therapy. And I had to be released as treated. So my therapists, my neurologist, my traumatic brain injury clinician all had to sign off basically saying this guy's been treated and he's on his way toward improvement. So for me, I had to, and this is something I talk to a lot of older veterans about because they're not really familiar with the DoD rating. Um, when you go for all of your QTC appointments, you get basically you're given a VA rating. It's a percentage rating based off of all of your disabilities. Now, you could have a 0% on a disability, but that's a good thing if you get a 0% rating on something, kinda, because it can only go up. If you don't get a rating for something, it can never go up, and you're never going to get it. It's hard as fuck to get something prorated or pre-rated or whatever the hell you want to call it, retro rated. Um, for me, I had to go through the DoD rating system first. And then I had to go through the VA rating system. So for DOD, it's a similar, it's similar in that you have to go to QTC appointments after being treated. And they gave me a rating, a separate rating from my VA rating, percentage rating. So if you get 50% or above, while you're active duty, if you for your DOD rating, then you actually get medically retired. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're medically separated." No, I am medically retired. It says fucking retired on my retiree ID. I get a retiree pension. I got to keep my TRICARE on top of my VA healthcare. I have base access for my entire life, and in that sense, it's pretty good. I'm not complaining about that. Not only did I get to keep my fingers and my toes, I have all my limbs, but I get good health care. I get single payer health care, which is crazy. I have single payer health care for the rest of my life, something that I'm an absolute proponent for the civilian populace of our country. Um, I got my DOD rating back and I got to retire, medically retire from the Marine Corps. So I have my pension and everything. But then I also had to go through the VA QTC appointments, which were just as thorough. And I got a rating from the VA, which also goes into my pension and whatever VA care I can receive. And there's different levels of what you can access within the VA depending on your rating. And I have full everything because of my TBI. Um, it it was easier for me than most, and I recognize that because the Wounded Warrior Battalion really facilitated that ease. They pull you out of your unit. You actually go TAD from your unit. What's that TAD? Temporary assistance duty or whatever, where you're pulled from your home unit and you're put with a different unit for a deployment or whatever. Well, they do that same process for when you go to um, Wounded Warrior Battalion. So I was with the 15th MEU. They pulled me from the 15th MEU because it was a deployable unit, and they put me at a base unit. I was there for like 2 weeks before I transferred to Wounded Warrior Battalion, which was a shit show. Base combat camera was the most ridiculous place I've ever been in my life. Like that place sucked ass.
Shout out to all the base PAO
God,
employees.
I'm sorry, guys. Your life sucks. Your life sucks ass. We got staff sergeants acting like corporals. Rank doesn't matter unless you're a staff NCO, apparently. I was trying to be a good corporal, a good sergeant at base combat camera. You can't. You just can't. Anyway, I was there for 2 weeks, and then I went to Wounded Warrior Battalion, where they facilitated the entire transition out of the Marine Corps. The goal of Wounded Warriors is to transition you out or transition you back in, depending on the severity of your injury. So they transitioned me out. I didn't want to. I was at 10 and a half years. I planned on doing my 20, and I was basically forced out. So if you imagine a battalion full of Marines who are mostly wounded in combat and pulled from their units, don't want to leave the Marine Corps, but are told, "Hey, you can't be a Marine anymore." We were all pretty miserable. And then that was just the attitude you're gonna find there. The slogan for Wounded Warrior Battalion is "Etiam in pugna." It means still in the fight. But we joked that Etiam and Pugna meant everyone's a Pogue now. Because we're all just told I mean it was just constant uniform inspections, dog and pony shows for senators and congressmen coming through to have grip and grins and pretend that they cared. Um, while we're all trying to figure out our lives that are abruptly changed. Anyway, after I get my DOD rating, they put you through the VA ringer while you're still active duty. And it's a lot easier, they give you the time to go do it. You don't have to take off work. You're already in a military mindset because you're still technically in the military. And that's kind of what I mean by streamlined. It's not necessarily a different process. It's the same process everyone goes through, but we're active duty
Right.
and we're given the time to do it while still collecting an active duty paycheck. Um, so when I retired, I had everything set up. It took me 30 days and I started receiving my pension.
Right.
6 months afterward, they raised my rating. I didn't request it, didn't ask for it. They just sent me a letter saying, "Hey, you were at X rating. We're putting you at X rating now." And it was a really good process.
Yeah.
Now, that said, man, I've talked to countless people who've said that it's been a fight. They've had to get lawyers. They've had to, yeah, I mean, it's been a terrible experience for them. I would suggest, if you're wounded, not to get jaded, especially if you end up at Wounded Warrior Battalion. When I was there, I saw so many people on drugs, like guys getting hooked on heroin because whatever pain meds they were given weren't working for them anymore. And these are guys wounded in combat, and they would just get the boot, like they would pop on a piss test and they would get kicked out. I'm going to say hypothetically, were I to be a pecker checker, which I hypothetically was, I helped a lot. I would have helped a lot of people out. Um, because sacrificing yourself for this country and smoking a little bit of fucking weed when you're told you can't be a Marine anymore shouldn't be a crime. It
Right.
is though. It is.
Well,
Trying to better your life and without, when I retired, I was on 9 different medications because I had to be. They gave me medications to counter medications to counter medications, side effects. It was just a nasty rigmarole they put me through, because you can't deny medical orders. You have to do everything they say. And if you're not taking these meds that they give you that make you feel like a fucking zombie and make you puke every 2 hours, then you can get charged and you will get charged. So anyway,
so yeah,
yeah.
so you and I had similar experiences, I think, with getting our ratings, ahead of time of getting out because luckily for me, I had a corporal that told me to do that ahead of time. He's like, you're about 4 months out, go ahead and go see the VA doctor. It's gonna be invasive as hell, and they're gonna like do a whole physical on you and everything, and they're gonna decide, what's messed up about you that wasn't before. He said, but it's going to be a lot easier. So, I had that advice to go ahead and do that ahead of time. But yeah, I had to go through the whole another physical to get that done. Now, Jesse, you had a different experience. Could you tell us, if you don't mind, about your experience with VA disability and everything that you had to go through? If you're open and willing to share.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a wild time because like I had literally just gotten selected for staff sergeant um in late of 2011. And as a comic correspondent in a country like Afghanistan, dude, we were a small public affairs team and small combat camera. So like we were really spread out because, well, shit, Helmand province is one of the largest provinces in Afghanistan, and we had a lot of fobs and we had a lot of shit going on. And I was there like during the time of singing and a lot of other like scandalous shit. But I was in Musakela. Uh, I can't remember the name of the operation right now, but like we had bad intelligence, and I got a back injury based off of that bad intelligence. But I also that was January 19th of 2012. I already had orders to Miami, Florida, at Marine Forces South. So I complained about like the neck and back pain like when I got back to the FA, well back to Leatherneck, right? And the chief just said like, like you can get some meds, but shake it off. We got back to Camp Lejeune in late February, at the end of the deployment. I literally had less than 2 months to check in. So it's either like you get put on med hold, which we're not going to let you do. I was essentially told like get your shit fixed in Miami, you know, and that's not even the psychological stuff. And it took a long time to get that set up when I was there. But like I saw the wizard, which is what we call the psych, one time after I got back, because like I'd been there a year and I'd seen some crazy shit. So like I needed to sort it out. On top of the physical injury, um, I was doing physical therapy and well, when I left Camp Lejeune, went to Miami, it took forever to get service set up. But once once I did, like it took 2 years to get MRIs to actually figure out what was wrong with my back. And that's part of the problem with the military medical system is like the elongated, like we're going to use the cheapest option first to see if we can fix the problem instead of just actually doing an MRI and it's like, oh shit, you have a compressed disc. This is what we need to do. It's going to cost us a lot less money in the long run. Didn't have that experience. But after 2 years and that, I got put on a med board. And it took 2 years to get through the med board, which they found me fit for duty, even though I couldn't run a PFT. No, like, what do you call it? No heavy impact, only light exercise. Uh, but like I'm still pretty fit, still pretty skinny. Like I've maintained that, but like I can't run a marathon, dude. I can't even run a fucking 5K anymore. Uh, uh, there's a whole lot that goes into like what didn't happen right with my med board, but I did actually go and do all of my VA stuff while I was on the med board. Just like Kevin was saying, man, like it was kind of a seamless process. And even though like the Miami VA is not the greatest, like they did a pretty decent job. And but the one thing I did experience is after I got out, like I was finally once I got the med board findings and I had like 53 days to re-enlist, which was not possible. So, like in my opinion, I was kind of forced out of the Marine Corps. Otherwise, you sign waivers for the rest of your life and you never get promoted above staff sergeant, or you get to fuck out. But like I was at a point mentally and emotionally and physically where I couldn't do it anymore. So I chose to get out. And even having done all of my VA paperwork beforehand, uh, it still took 9 months to get a rating.
Yeah.
And it took me going to my congresswoman, who I was in Broward County, Florida at the time, which is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Like I appreciate you taking care of me, Congresswoman, but I did not vote for you. But it took a literal act of Congress and a congressional inquiry to figure out that there was somehow one missing signature, which is why my disability was delayed by 9 months after service. So at this point, like I am barely in college and I'm homeless because I was stationed in Miami. Dude, I stayed in Miami. I started college in Miami, but it's a wildly unaffordable place to live. And I didn't get the support that I felt that should be afforded to veterans that had served, particularly in wartime, that like I got. And same with you, Kevin. Like I was on 10 medications a day. So the Jesse that you're talking to today was not the Jesse you were talking to them. Is someone who was out of their fucking mind
Yep.
on like 1,600 milligrams of gabapentin and 9 other medications a day. So and that kind of like led to a lot of turmoil in my last days in the Marine Corps because like I wasn't even who like I wasn't a human being. And you're trying to maintain Marine Corps standards, and I was just getting my ass chewed all the fucking time because I was fucking up. Well, no shit, I was fucking up, and no shit that I had substance abuse like issues post military, even with like the VA, because like they had already started that fucking rabbit hole. And I had a lower back. I've got a compression in my lumbar spine and hip issues from a secondary broken foot. And I went to the VA in Sunrise, Florida, and my doctor literally just like she didn't like write a referral for physical therapy. She just wrote me a med. I'm like, I'm already on 10 meds. I don't fucking need another,
Yeah.
dude. You know, it wasn't until I got to Chattanooga in 2017, um, I got like some real proper care from like great physical therapists and great doctors. So where I started to heal, you know what I mean? But like that just speaks to the disparity and the disconnect and different the whole VA system. So this is where you were talking about getting the totally contradictory stories of other veterans to your ease of processing out and into like civilian life. It just really depends on where you are because there's not a whole lot of consistency within the government because there's not a whole lot of like oversight with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the problem with streamlining it. Yeah.
So, one of the big things, I think with what they were trying to do then is they're talking about, I guess, essentially trying to avoid fraud or like if you all of a sudden, quote unquote, got better from your disability that you shouldn't be paid anymore. What do you guys think about that? And I do also want to point out that this is it's called disability, but it is compensation.
Yeah.
And essentially, if you were on a civilian job, it would be workman's comp, right? And workman's comp, pays you for things that happen on the job that were unexpected, injuries that happened that were unexpected. None of us,
Yep.
I think, joined the military, and we all knew that we were risking our lives and everything like that. And there's funds for if that inevitably happens. But aside from that,
I'd
none
say,
of it like, yeah, I'm gonna leave with a fucking vertebrae fucking problem or a traumatic brain injury or all this shit. They didn't promise us that. They say like we're not going to promise you sunshine and what is it, sunshine and roses or whatever the fuck. But you're also not promising me a fucking debilitating fucking back injury or traumatic brain injury that's going to affect the rest of my life. And that's what I want. I think people to understand is that it's disability, but it is compensation for the work that was put in and the sacrifices that were made. So what I just want to open the floor back up to you guys. Just given that sort of comment.
Kevin, do you mind if I just like
no,
jump in
go
real
for it,
quick?
man.
Like I've only got like two like points, but uh, I 100% agree with you, Lou, on like the compensation point. But it's honestly more than that. Okay, so if you're looking at like what 100% disability from the VA would pay out to a veteran over their lifetime, and the average is $2 million. But for someone like me who had spent 13 years in the Marine Corps, 12 years, 8 months, to be more precise. And I was on track to do like a mass communications degree. So like from where I was at in Miami, the average starting rate for a job for someone with my experience and a degree in mass communications would have been $84,000. And that was in 2016. Okay. So that's roughly over the 10 years which we've had this struggle of getting the compensation I deserve because of my blood, sweat, and tears put into this um, war machine. I've lost $1 million in revenue. All right. Like personal revenue, damn near. And that's not including me like using my veterans disability when I got out, just talking about money lost that could have been invested. And that's not even counting what would be compounded by investing it into like mutual funds or corporate markets. Okay. And the average payout for veteran disability at 100%, given the average lifetime of veterans, is $2 million. Well, I'm I was 30 something years old. Now I'm 40. Like I've lost $1 million fucking dollars. What are you talking about? Like I've literally lost $1 million. Like, and what is $1 million compounded and invested properly into like a mutual fund that has generally like steady returns of like 8.5 to 11 or 12%. That's a wild amount of money, dude. That's
Yeah.
a wild amount of money. So like even given that I wasn't interested in the markets and I was just investing in real estate or just trying to like build things on my own homestead to it's all money and time that I don't have now that I'm not going to be paid. And you're trying to say that I'm better and I no longer need the compensation. Well, no, that's not even a conversation that we're going to have because that money has already been lost for decades to come. You know what I mean? I'm never going to be the same person. If I had never joined the Marine Corps and I had just like done the dream that I have now, like, yeah, I would probably have an achy back, but like I'm pretty ambitious. I would make more than $3 million, and that's really all I have to say about it.
You know, what you said about how much they would pay us over our lifetimes, I kind of did some quick math here. Lindsey Graham has been in office for 31 years in federal office. He's gotten paid $6,045,000 while he's been in office. What the fuck are they complaining about?
To perpetuate fucking war
Yeah,
because he was the one of the main proponents of this warmongering in the Middle East.
yeah.
20 years ago, 25 years ago, and today.
That's just so far, I mean, that guy's gonna do what Strom Thurmond did and go well into his 90s.
Brothers,
I'm from South Carolina. I know.
once a warmonger, always a warmonger.
Yeah.
Like they can't help themselves.
My
They gotta
answer,
they gotta keep that money coming in somehow. And
yeah.
yeah, fuck Lindsey Graham with his $6 million. That's
My
three veterans then,
well,
right?
that's not
That's
including
three fucking veterans,
his
right?
PAC
His
money.
fucking that's his the three veterans.
Yeah.
They can live out their lives.
Yeah.
Not even like comfortably. That's chump change.
Yeah.
That shit is
That's
like
40, 50K a
paying your
year.
fucking
Yeah.
electric bill. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like that's what these motherfuckers don't realize.
These
well, when he
people, oh, go ahead.
when he retires from like legislature, like he's either gonna just sequester, or he's going to be hired by one of these wild fucking defense firms. It's the same as
Mhm.
our like upper echelon in our U.S. military, where you see all these Navy, Army, and Marine Corps officers go to work directly for Raytheon or Lockheed Martin or like some like defense conglomerate. You know
On
what I
top of
mean?
his
Like
80% pension that he's guaranteed. Yeah.
guaranteed, and that's a lot more than I'm getting paid right now for actually
Hmm.
bleeding.
Yeah. So my answer to these people complaining about what veterans are getting, if your ass can take the scars out of my fucking brain, I'll gladly give up my pension. If you can allow me to have a night's peace, a good night's sleep, you can have my fucking pension. You know what I'm saying? If you can allow me to walk up a flight of stairs without my knees popping and cracking, you can have my pension. If you can take away all of the issues, the failed marriage, the failed fucking friendships, all of the problems that I've had since, if you can take away the pain that I feel from my friends that have committed suicide, I'll give up my pension. Until then, you can suck a fucking fat cock. You know what I'm saying? Like I could give two shits what these people think. They can complain and complain and complain about my pension all they fucking want. Until they can fix this and this, suck a dick. You know what I'm saying? I gave what I gave to the Constitution of the United States willingly. What I actually gave to was billionaires. Billionaires who have made billions and billions of dollars per year. Those fuckers are the ones you should be complaining about, not me. Like I haven't taken from anyone in this country. I haven't stolen anything. I haven't scammed anyone. I haven't done anything wrong. Nothing that I receive as far as a pension or my compensation is illegal. None of it is immoral. None of it is anything I haven't earned. All of these injuries that I have, all of these permanent fucking injuries that I have, the scars on my prefrontal cortex, as I said, they're there. They're not going away. If you can take them away, please take them away. Please take away my dreams. Please take away my memories of my friends that have fucking died in these wars, 4 billionaires. Please take away my thoughts and my pain of my friends who have killed themselves because of these wars, 4 billionaires in Israel. Please, please, please do it. I beg, I'm begging. I will give up my pension in a fucking heartbeat to get rid of this crap. That's all I have to say.
I'll say this too, Kev, tying it back in with what we were talking about earlier. There's a certain Jewish senator from Vermont that I think coined the phrase best and said, if you can spend trillions and trillions of dollars sending our youth, our young men and women off to war, you can spend a few billion taking care of them when they get home.
2 million for the rest of my life
2 million just
compared
for one person,
compared to
and that's
20
100%.
billion
And
compared
that's
to
if you're
20 billion
100%.
in 8 fucking days of a war in Iran. Fuck you complaining about me like I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Suck a fucking dick.
But like Jesse
God.
said, and I want to point this out too, he said $2 million if you're 100%.
Yeah, and that's if you live. Like most of us fucking off ourselves. We're fucking miserable. Like we come up with podcasts so we can vent about our issues, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't live happy, fulfilled lives. Like we have problems. I mean, I'm a happy man. I don't deserve what I have. I'll say that right now. I have a great life. I have a great wife, a great home. But I don't feel like I can fully appreciate all of it because I'm thinking constantly about these things, the what ifs and the loss, the hurt. I need to vent about it, like I've been in therapy for 20 fucking years now, like, and I know that sounds stupid and a lot of people will see that as weakness. I think it's powerful that I can even admit it. I go to therapy with a bunch of Gen X and boomers who think that it's all weakness and they openly say it. And it's like, well, why the fuck are you even here? Shut the hell up and get out. I mean, I'm here for help. I'm here to become a more stable citizen for this country. I want to contribute. I want to be someone. I want to help. I just want to. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's not me being a welfare baby. I've been told. So I went to when I was at Wounded Warrior Battalion, I went to Huntsville, Alabama for something that they call the Huntsville Heroes Week. They flew a bunch of us out, wounded veterans, combat wounded veterans, and they put us up in their West End hotel and they had a parade for us. They like fed us. It was fucking amazing until one of them friended me on Facebook, one of the hosts. And this is for you, Rhonda. One of the hosts of the actual thing, she got on my Facebook, sent me a friend request, and she saw that I'm a socialist. She saw that I'm an atheist. And man, I went from being a fucking hero to a zero real quick. She was like blasting me, contacting my family and was saying all kinds of shit to them. Um, she she hated me. She absolutely fucking hated me. And she actually told me that my pension, my retirement pension, was welfare. She called me a fucking welfare baby. This is someone who is in charge of all of these all of these like veteran hero groups. She's a part of the Semper Fi Fund. It's like she's really involved in all of this shit. She actually called me a welfare baby because I'm a socialist. Even though I've done everything that everyone else has, like she's never served this country. She's never had a real fucking job. She's some cackling housewife, like some fucking old trad wife who is so bored that she involves herself in a bunch of hero worship, military worship, war worship. Like it's disgusting. These people are fucking disgusting. If she can take my fucking scars out of my brain, I'll give up my welfare. If she can fucking bring my friends back to life, I'll give up my welfare. If she can do anything that actually serves a solid purpose in this fucking world, I'll give up my welfare. Until then, shut the fuck up. She's never been in my shoes. She's never been in combat. She's never seen anyone die. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's never seen the selflessness of a person giving their life for another in combat. They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. So I'm gonna shut up before I get too heated about it.
No, no, it's good, man. Love it. Fuck Rhonda. I
Yeah.
think we can say that. In fact, if you're watching this right now and you've made it this far, throw it in the comments. Fuck Rhonda. Let's see how many fuck Rhondas we can get going on. Hashtag fuck Rhonda. Look, I think um, we've had this conversation about the war and obviously the aftermaths of the war. And so I'm thinking, what would you both say to somebody that is currently either thinking about joining the military, um, in the military, or actually actively engaged in the current war? What's your best piece of advice that you can give them um, for the situation that they're in right now? And Jesse, we can start with you.
Well, for these young bucks, like going into it, I mean, you're already there. The military has like a really tight control on the narrative, so like you have to be aware of that. But if you're researching on your own outside of the mainstream media and you don't feel like something that you're asked to do is constitutional, then that's an illegal order. In my opinion, like, don't follow that fucking order.
Okay,
There's
Senator Kelly.
there's there's JAG for a reason. Like I have literally filmed war crimes, okay? And I was explicitly told to delete that footage. But in my moral being, I could not fucking do it. And I told the staff sergeant that told me as a sergeant at the time, no, I'm not going to do that. The JAG is going to review this. And the JAG did review it. Okay. So don't do something if you feel like it is illegal, like the I mean, feelings are feelings, all right. But if you know for a fact that something that you're asked to do is a fucking war crime or it's against the U.S. Constitution, which I encourage every service member to read thoroughly and completely understand, because that's what you're taking an oath to. You betray that whenever you follow an order that's on the other end of that. Like, it's opposed to your oath. It Sturgill Simpson's a Navy veteran and he's an activist, but he's also a country music star. And in one of his songs, he wrote to his son, um, trust the gut because the gut don't ever lie. You know what I mean? If you have a feeling in your stomach like this shit don't feel right, well, then you really need to start asking questions. And if they're not comfortable answering those questions, then that makes it even more suspect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like you really need to like have a fucking spine. As tough it is in the U.S. military. I know it's not easy, especially in the Marine Corps, because it's a very authoritarian, non-democratic type of society where like just do what you're told, and shut the fuck up. It's tough, man. It really is. But like, if it goes beyond your moral fiber, that is like the one piece of advice that I could give you is to have that spine, stand up and stand down on 10 toes, and go, no, I don't think this is right, and this is why. And if it gets to a point to where like you have to conscientiously object, then JAG is there for a reason. And if you are right and be right, then if your command decides to NJP you for it or take it to court martial, then JAG is gonna fucking have your back. Like they are sworn to their own oath of ethos on justice itself, and that is not just the U.S. Constitution, U.S. law, but also the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
So I was hoping
Well
you were going to
said.
close with it too, because a lot of people don't. They think like there's a common phrase like, oh, when you sign the contract, you give away your rights. No, that ain't
No,
the
you
case.
don't.
No, you don't.
It's
And
tough. It's
that
tough to fight the monster, but like you can do it.
you can fight
Like,
it, and if
will
you're in the
they
right, you're in
make
the
your life
right.
a hell during that period? Absolutely. But if they're found out to be like the culprits of like malice, then they're gonna get, the green weenie.
And with that, just as the Constitution's there to protect our rights, the UCMJ is also and can be there to protect our rights. You don't have to follow an unlawful order that's in the UCMJ.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
if there's any fucking question of an order that you've been given, if you think it's unlawful, I mean, look, bottom line is, ain't nobody with brass gonna spend any time in any fucking prison. You will.
Yep,
They're gonna always throw the enlisted under the bus, and let's
yep.
just throw that out there. And if any officer wants to chime in on the comments, go on, bring it on. Come on the podcast. We can fucking get you on, and we can argue this shit. But we all know that's that's the pecking order, just as it is in civilian life. Hey, bottom of the totem pole, they're gonna fuck you over first. So, yeah, look out for yourself. Jesse's dead on, dude, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder on that. I'm just trying to amp it up.
Thank you, dude.
Kev, what you got?
Um, my advice would be people are fucking stupid and they're gonna believe what they want to believe because they want it to be true or because they're scared it's true. Um, when you have a young troop these days, or young Marine, young soldier, whoever, and they'll talk to people, um, talk to veterans especially, they're gonna talk to them and hear all of their opinions until till they hear what they want to hear. They want to hear what justifies their own opinion. I want them to challenge that. I want them to not believe what they want to believe. I want them to believe what the truth is, the unanimous fucking truth. If you talk to some dumbass fucking grunt that did 4 years from bumfuck Oklahoma, he's going to tell you, yeah, we went and fought a bunch of Muslims and yeah, it was a justified war and we fought for God. And like, that's what a lot of these guys want to hear, unfortunately. I'm in the forums, I see what they say and I see how they justify wanting to go and kill. The Marine Corps, it really facilitates that. It kind of glorifies that in its own way, and I appreciate that. Like I was a fucking Marine too, Like I get it, I get it. But when you have so many of us OIF and OEF veterans telling you the exact opposite, you're fighting for money, you're fighting for corporations, you're fighting for the wrong goddamn reasons. And you ignore us to listen to that idiot in Oklahoma, which is 50th in fucking education, by the way. Shout out to old Mark.
Yeah, Tiger King should have told you that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not listening to us and you're listening to those dipshits, I mean, that's on you, man. I would recommend you hear us out. We've been there, we've done that. We've been to OIF, OEF multiple times. I went many times. I know these people that we're fighting. I know the reasons that we're fighting. I know the money that we're fighting. Me sitting here, I'm turning 42 this month. I'm well aware. I've had a lot of time to think about this shit. I'm well aware of what I did, and I wasn't necessarily in the moment. The first time I went to Iraq, I was 20 years old. I joined at 17. I went to a bunch of places, and then I ended up in Iraq at 20. I turned 21. The day I turned 21, I got blown the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's all been reflecting. I've lost a lot of friends since then because of the guilt, the lack of ability to transition back into the civilian world because of the guilt, because of the lack of understanding or the lack of understand or the ability of understanding, I should say, because we know what we did and we know why we did it. Listen to us. To my younger self, I just applaud I mean, honestly, I applaud my younger self. I come from a Fox News MAGA family. They're racists, they're bigots. I have family in the Klan. To this day, I grew up telling these people, I love you. And I got the fuck away from that as soon as I could. I dropped out of high school and went to a military academy and I was gone. Fuck South Carolina. Fuck going back there. Never looked back, man. I don't talk to them anymore. I don't talk to my brother. I haven't talked to him in years. No, haven't seen him or his kids since before COVID. Don't plan on doing it anytime soon. I know that sounds rash. I know it sounds harsh, but why? Why would I? They're supporting this war in Iran. They like this. They want us to go fucking die. They're not putting their kids in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a second son in a Southern Baptist, Scott Irish fucking Southern family. You know what I'm saying? Like I was meant to go die in some war, just like every previous war. That's what I was born for. I think my firsthand experience and my firsthand knowledge of what was going on is way more valuable than some asshole who never went there in the first place because of bone spurs or just being the firstborn, more loved son or any of that bullshit, you know? The three of us sitting right here, we've been there, done that. We have formed an educated and just a very unbiased opinion of what's going on. Like we have facts on at our back, rather than the guy I addressed earlier, the guy who did 4 years and went back to Oklahoma, and he's got nothing on his back except for a bunch of bigotry and hate. Like I made a short a while back. Talking about you come back with what you take with you. If you go there with disinformation and misinformation and hatred at your back, you're going to come back with that shit amplified. But if you go with knowledge, philosophy, compassion, if you go with empathy, then you're going to come back with that shit amplified. And empathy is not a weakness. It is not a weakness. It's what's driven humanity to the lengths that it is right now. I mean, to the place it is. It's what got us to the moon. It's what got us. I mean, it's what makes us human. And empathy is what you should be basing your entire decisions on, no matter your religion, no matter your philosophy, no matter your upbringing. We are all human and we should love each other as much as possible. Obviously, there's some times when it's not possible, hence World War II. You know what I mean? I know that I know all of the economic factors that led us into World War II as well, but it was a good fight. It was worthwhile. This is not. OIF, OEF was not. Vietnam was not. None of this shit is worth it. We're all fighting for the rich to get richer, and we're all dying for the rich to get richer, and they're laughing at us the whole fucking time. So, I hope that they're listening. I hope the troops right now are listening to us. And as far as my younger self, good fucking job, Kevin. You got a brain injury out of it, but you got away from that crap. So, bravo.
All right, Jesse, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Invest earlier. Raytheon, Halliburton, KBR, Boeing, Lockheed Martin.
Well, I don't want
Invest
to.
earlier.
I don't want to say. Let's
Yeah,
say,
I mean,
let's rephrase the question then. Let's not think about like your own personal things that you've been through, but um, let's say you're talking to a younger you that's about to go into this current war. Like, what's some advice that you would give to that young Jesse?
well, two thoughts come to mind. Like, really, don't marry her. uh,
Ditto, ditto.
but the second thought is like do your research. Like if you feel compelled to fight for something, like you really need to know the other side. Like uh, um, our friend, Kevin here is a socialist, and sometimes a self-proclaimed Marxist, and I have uh, a copy of like the Communist Manifesto, like in my book collection. Like I don't necessarily agree with that thought like process, but I understand that thought process because I've read their literature and their knowledge. So like at least I have a little bit of like insight on what the other side thinks. And I think that's very much the opposite of where I was when I joined the military. Is like I only had one viewpoint. Had I had both viewpoints and I was dialed into like Eastern media and seeing what they're saying and verifiable facts and empirical evidence, I probably would have not joined the Marine Corps. And don't get me wrong, I love being a Marine. 12 years, 8 months. I've got two tattoos. Like, and I love my brothers. Some of my best friends in the world came from my service. But knowing what I know now, like you have to be informed. Are you willing to put your life on the line for the potential of Raytheon and Lockheed Martin's profits, or Halliburton? Because Halliburton made a killing in Iraq, but so did insurgents. Like we lost more than 5,000 service members in that war alone, and more than 1.5 million people were killed, and those all were not insurgents. So do you want that on your moral conscience? Is really what it comes down to. You have to be informed, and also back to Kevin's point, empathetic. Like, would you want this to happen to your mother, your sister, your grandchildren? Like, no, you wouldn't. These are human beings. And whatever political point they're trying to push at you, and they're trying to do it hard right now with Iran, but Iran's problems are Iran's problems. If they want their like theocracy overthrown, they can do that themselves. But evidence has shown that they are no threat to U.S. interests outside of corporate ones. So you have to take all those things into account before you raise your right hand and take the oath to the Constitution to swear and defend, against enemies, foreign and domestic. But you also have to be educated enough to know when there are domestic threats.
Yeah. Amen, man.
And I'll chime in and end with there's no delimiting a date on that oath. You take it, it's there. It's not just for your enlistment, whatever it is. When you
It's
swear
forever.
once, it is forever. They don't say there's no clause in there that says until the end of my service or until the end of whatever. You put your right hand up, you in, bud.
I want to
So
kind of build off of what he said just a second ago before we wrap this up. Sorry.
absolutely.
A bit of advice I can give to the younger service members, and I wish I could have given to myself. It would have provided a lot of clarity. Is when he said educate yourself, I think a lot of younger folks think or inform yourself or just stay informed. I think a lot of them think it means stay informed on current affairs. One really strong example, me saying I'm a socialist, me saying I'm a Marxist. Socialism is a branch of Marxist ideology, and a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, they just don't. They'll talk about how Marxism is evil, socialism is evil, communism is evil. It is to the rich. If you're working class, it's definitely not. I will say don't fall for the imperialist evil buzzwords. Marxism is not evil. Marx himself lauded capitalism as the great next experiment. When he was alive, capitalism was new. It was branching out. He was excited for it. He was excited to see where it could go. He didn't want to see it bastardized to the point that it is today, but he was happy that something was going on like that, as long as it had labor protections and power for the people. There's two quotes that I want to throw out there. that I think everyone should know, and these are quotes by Marx himself, is one, the means of production belongs in the hands of the people. Hedge funds shouldn't be owning they're like the majority of houses, and residential housing in America. They just shouldn't. Corporations shouldn't have more power than the average citizen. They should not. Citizens United was a fucking mistake. Furthermore, a lot of people, I've thrown this quote out as a joke. Um, any opportunity or any attempt to disarm the working class should be met by frustration and force if necessary. That is the most pro Second Amendment thing I've ever heard in my life. Marx himself said that. Marx said that. We are the working class. We are the people of this country. The government is not this country. The citizens are this country. We set up that government to kind of keep things in check and run it. But that separation of powers, that's just keeping things in, checks and balances. That's the most important thing ever. And to vote against that is to vote against America. It's to vote against yourself. It's to vote against the power of the average citizen. The average citizen is what built this fucking country. The Constitution is designed only to protect the average citizen, not the government. Citizens United gave the power to the government to say the Constitution protects us. It does fucking not. That's not why it was written. It was for all of us. I can be a socialist and love the Constitution. I can be a Marxist and love America. And anyone who has convinced you otherwise has poisoned your fucking mind. And that is advice I would give to my younger self because I was conflicted with that for a really long time. It took me a long time to realize that capitalism is is inherently going to be bastardized. It is going to be taken over by the rich. It is toxic once they have power, once they are given the same rights as the average citizen, and it's wrong. We can love ourselves, we can love each other, and we can take up for each other no matter your political affiliation, as long as we know that the government works for us, not the other way around. Trump works for us, not the other way around. The only way he has taken the power he is in is because he was born fucking rich. He has taken advantage of every fucking facet of our civilization to become more rich, and he has put the exact people he needed to put into power. He has the leverage, he has everything to become even more rich. He has taken more from us than me as a disabled and my welfare ever will. That is the fucking truth that I would pass on to the younger generations fighting these wars, as well as like if I could talk to my younger self and just like drop a little bit of knowledge. I think that's the one thing that I would drop if I had 2 minutes with my younger self to just pass on a little information. I wouldn't give stock, stock advice. I would give that advice. Like don't let don't let the billionaires tell you that I'm the fucking problem when they're just robbing and like they have their hands in your pockets, not me. Like I'm just fighting for you as a working person. Like I want labor rights. I want us to be treated fairly. I want the minimum wage to be raised. I don't want to tax you more. We already are taxed. I want to audit the federal government, find out where our money is going right now, and then reappropriate it. I don't want to tax more. I want our taxes that we already pay to go to us because that's why we pay taxes. Done.
Brother Jesse, you got anything to
I'll have a couple things like Kevin said, like with what we have now, like is like a form of like socialist capitalism, but just for the like capitalist class, not for the rest of America. So like we look back at like two big to fail companies, and we were going through the housing market crisis and the auto crisis, and so on and so forth. Like they were government bailouts using our money to bail out corporations that made bad decisions.
Both
So this
sides of the
is
aisle did that. Yeah.
both sides of the aisle, but this is like where we get to the bastardization like of the terms, you know? Like we are not a capitalist society. We're a socialist capitalist society with the lower three-fourths living under like unfettered capitalism, which is just like
Plutocratic
un
capitalism.
yeah, unexpandable. Like I mean, well, like ex indefinitely expandable uh profits for them, but like they're just leaking out of the pockets of the working class. Like look at the just the past week and a half of just how much gas prices have gone up. And like I filled my tank up, like for someone that goes to college, I live 5.5 miles away from the college. Like it's not too much of an issue for me, but someone that drives every day to work, like or uses their car for work, like that's taking money out of the American consumer's pocket. So, well, I forgot where I was going to lead into unions, but like this is like the capitalist, socialist capitalist model like fights unions like there's no fucking other,
Hmm.
like
I'm a union
they
worker. Yeah, I see it.
because they don't want the average worker to have or average American to have a say
Hmm.
because it cuts into their profits. But like I said on the last podcast, like a healthy, non-hungry, like belly full, worker is a productive worker. So that's only gonna like provide more productivity for your cause and your conglomerate, your capitalist interest. So why do they fight the unions? You know,
Thanks, man. Because I'm fucking totally pro union. I don't want us to revert to the age of we're getting paid in tokens that we have to spend at the company store. And that's what they want, man. They want us
that
to give their money right back to them, you know? That's
that's
disgusting.
exactly where we're going, though.
Yeah, we're
Like
not building wealth in the lower middle class, or anywhere else. You know, it's only the wealthy. I would say it's only really the top 1% who are expanding their wealth. If you're upper middle class, you're solidly upper middle class. You're not going anywhere. If you're middle class, you're fighting to stay middle class. Anyone else is just struggling. It's just the reality of America these days.
Well, gents, I think we might have another topic now for future episode for
You're not
sure.
gonna
I
want to
think,
get me started on it.
yeah, I want to thank you both for your insight and your knowledge, and especially on historical stuff and the different things that you bring to the conversation. That's why we do this. We want to make sure that we keep this veteran voice alive, especially when it comes to wars that we've been through, that we're going through again, because we don't want to repeat the same mistakes twice or six or seven or eight or nine times, especially in the same fucking millennium. So, anyways, or in the same century, actually. So, guys, I again appreciate you. It's been a little hiatus with Goats and Cookies, but we are back, and we will be pumping out episodes. And Jesse, has been on for episode 7 and 10 here, but I feel like Jesse's going to be a pretty recurring guest here on Goats and Cookies. So Jesse, if you'll come back, we'd love to have you. Kevin, as always, love you both, and love all you out there. And if you got some shit to say, throw it in the comments, man. We'll respond. We're not afraid.
Absolutely. I'll talk
End
shit
us
to
off.
you.
All right, Jesse, end us off, man. Give us something.
Oh, dude, I just really appreciate being a part of this and being able to use my voice for something that I feel is like more positive and less propaganda, given my current like my past as a voice for the U.S. military, being told to tell what I am to tell. Um, I'm just happy to be able to express my experiences um, openly without any kind of judgment, man. Like I feel very welcome here. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. We love to have you. We always love to have you on.
Yeah, man, we're all
And
the same people. Yeah.
all the same people. And yeah, so stay tuned for future episodes of Goats and Cookies. As always, like, share, subscribe, smash the notification button for all of your future content, and we will be in touch. See ya.